So there's this saying, this quote, that I've been thinking a lot about lately. I've heard it years ago, and I've thought about it over the years. The saying is, the map is not the territory. In other words, if you have a map, it's a representation of the actual territory, the actual land. You know, I spend a lot of time outdoors in the wilderness. And when you're out there, whether you're looking at your phone or whether you're actually looking at a physical paper map, that's fantastic. It's it's amazing, but it's just a representation of the actual ground that you're going to be covering. In a similar way, just because you can name something doesn't mean you know what it is. A name is an abstraction. If you're out in the wilderness and you see a bluebird, you can say, there's a bluebird. But you don't really know it, what that physical thing is, just by having the name for it. Now, this might sound very esoteric, but I see this a lot with launches. People are like, oh, that's a PLF style launch. Oh, that's 3-video launch. Oh, that's a live launch. Oh, it's a challenge launch. Oh, they're in open cart. Oh, do you see where he's using a story there? Do you see where he used that social proof trigger? That's all amazing. It's crazy. I just did the reading from the audiobook of my upcoming book launch. And as I'm going through this, it's been an amazing experience to go through my work so intensely and read it so intensely for an audiobook. But I got to thinking, like, all these words are out there that many of them, maybe not most, many of them I invented. Pre-launch, that term everyone uses. Pre-launch, open cart, I invented those terms. And so I see all these people that say, oh yeah, it's this, it's that. As if by being able to recognize they're in the midst of a PLF launch means that they truly know it, or they can truly put it to work in their business. It's one thing to go around naming things, it's another thing to do it. It's one thing to be a talker, it's another thing to be a doer. And what after coaching, hundreds of thousands of people through this process, and having 10,000 plus people go through my PLF Live event, I've seen so many people go through this process, and it's like, when you go through your first launch, you will know so much more than if you're sitting on the sideline saying, oh yeah, I know this, I know that, I know all the jargon, I know the terms, I know the lingo, I know the language. It's a completely different thing to actually be in the game. The difference between sitting on the sidelines and being in the game is incredibly vast. And that's why it's so important to get to your first offer. That's why it's so important to get to your first launch. Your first launch isn't about making $1 million. I wish it were so, but it's not. And it wasn't that way for me, and it was not that way for almost any one of my students. That first launch is about getting that experience of having launched and getting an offer out there and rubbing elbows with your potential prospects and making some sales and working with the people that you made sales to. Because that's how you become a true entrepreneur. That's how you become an expert. That's how you grow your business. That's how you get in the game. You get in the game by getting in the game. It sounds simple and obvious, but the difference between having put out that first launch and not having done that first launch is so incredibly vast that you literally can't imagine it. So get yourself a launch under your belt. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that just in a few days is my PLF Live event. And that event is all about you coming in with an idea and you leaving with your launch plan done. It's a workshop where I'm on stage, on a virtual stage. You can attend this from anywhere you have an internet connection. I'm on stage walking you through the exercises that lead to your launch plan. So I hope you consider joining me at PLF Live. I'll put a link down below this video so you can go check out all the details. It's coming up in just a few days. But no matter what, you need to get in the game. And the way you get in the game is to get yourself launched. I'm Jeff Walker. Wherever you're watching this, scroll down, leave a comment for me, and let's go get them this week.